The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, and each week we bring you the goings-on in the towns and villages that we cover. This week we'll be starting with Mike Falk in the town of Lima. Mike, what's going on in Lima?
Hello, Chris. Thanks for hosting us all again. Just a reminder that, again, if you're seeing this live, February 11th is Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. here at the Town Hall. We will be having the Water District 5 public hearing. No decisions will be made that night. The vote is scheduled for the regular board meeting on March 4th, 6:30 p.m. The Livingston County Environmental Management Council is seeking its annual nominations for the Earth Day Award. The nomination period is open between now and March 3rd. The award recognizes individuals, businesses, agencies, or organizations for outstanding achievements in preserving or improving the Livingston County environment or educating others about Livingston County's environment. Nomination forms are available. Go ahead and call the Livingston County Planning Department, 585-243-7550. Congratulations to Lynn McNimmy. Lynn is the Livingston County Probation Director, and she has earned the National Exemplary Public Servant Award. In addition to being the Probation Director, Lynn is the chair of the Livingston County Suicide Prevention Task Force and also volunteers with the Livingston County Transportation Committee. She is truly involved in the community and is a fantastic public servant. So congratulations, Lynn. The Lima Historical Society, in conjunction with the Lima Public Library, is going to be bringing in Livingston County historian Holly Watson to talk about demystifying the Livingston County poorhouse. Now, of course, we've all heard the term poorhouse, like, hey, you're spending money, you're going to send us all to the poorhouse. Well, they actually existed. And so Livingston County, the building is still there. And if you've been to Strange Design Brewing, that's now located in the poorhouse. And there's also quite an extensive poorhouse cemetery system that's included with that building there. Quite an interesting concept, and a lot of history is there. So February 20th, 7 p.m. here at the Lima Town Hall upstairs. You can learn all about the Livingston County Poorhouse and what it was like to live back then when you found yourself on really hard times. And lastly, the Livingston County Soil and Water Conservation District. Now, soil and water conservation districts are actually chartered under the Department of Ag and Markets. Each county has one, and Livingston County no exception. This is the time of year when the Livingston County Soil and Water Conservation District is having its tree and shrub seedling program out there. Orders will be filled on a first come, first served basis. They give you planting instructions, etc. You can call 585-489-6274. Or if you search the Livingston County website, it'll come up with the Soil and Water Conservation District 2025 Shrub and Seedling Program, where you could get such things as shingle oaks and paper birches and dawn redwoods, along with lilacs and spirea. And they're even offering 4 kinds of apple trees, 1 kind of pear tree this year. So those orders have to be in fairly soon. And then the pickup date would be on Saturday, April 19th. And that's all I got, Chris.
Thanks, Mike. And we've got this from Dan Williver from the town of Rush. He says that the town of Rush has sent out a new packet of information to all town residents residing in the proposed new Central Water District, that's CWD. The paperwork explains the costs associated with the new water district. It also contains a copy of the petition associated with the water district. If you are in favor of the new water district and are okay with the associated charges, sign the petition and bring it to the town hall to be notarized. If you are against the proposed CWD, you do not have to do anything. All signed petitions must be returned before May 1st, 2025. If you have any questions, contact Dan directly at supervisor@townofrush.com or by phone 533-9058. That was from Dan Williver, the supervisor of the town of Rush. Now it's over to John Moffett, town of Mendon. John, what's moving in Mendon?
Well, as always, glad to be here. We're wading through winter. Looking forward to hopefully early spring, at least from my standpoint. Just want to update folks on a couple of things. First of all, once we do get a break in the weather, we're going to start repairing the street lights in the hamlet of Mendon. As I've explained before, there are street lights that are owned and maintained by RG&E, and there are more decorative ones that the town owns and maintains. Those were put in approximately 25 years ago, and they have fallen into disrepair, and we have ordered new parts. They're LED. They're obviously going to conserve energy, and once the weather breaks, we'll get those going. And of course, the sidewalk project, we have approval from Monroe County for the grant. That sidewalk runs on a county road. That'll be on Miles Square Road between the Linear Trail and Route 251. Our intention is to not only do that in 2025, but hopefully attach that to other sidewalks that will provide more of a walking area and provide more walking to and from the hamlet of Mendon. A lot of talk about salt lately in the news. And as we know, we've had a little different winter this year than we have in the last 2 or 3. Several years ago, the town of Mendon built a salt barn out on Semmel Road, which allowed the town to hold more salt. And we had a recent delivery. So it appears that we should be in pretty good shape. And hopefully, as I said, the winter winds down here as we progress. I recently had the opportunity to attend the Schnacky Players at St. Catherine's. That was an excellent event. I know it's been going on for, I think, 40 years, if I remember right. Been to it several times, and it's definitely one of the nicer and great event going on in the hamlet in the wintertime. So I encourage everybody to attend if you haven't already. Lastly, today I am announcing that I am not seeking another term for re-election for Town of Mendon Supervisor. It has been my pleasure to serve our residents. I have, been very appreciative of the support of our residents, and I will continue to do a good job, but I'm just announcing that I'm not seeking another term at this point and retiring. My wife retired about 1.5 years ago, and it looked pretty good to me. So a couple of things. First of all, in retiring, I'll be the second longest serving supervisor for the town of Mendon, only outlasted by my grandfather, who served 22 years, and this is my 16th year as supervisor. And coincidentally, we both live in the same house. I purchased the house for my grandparents back in 1987. Also proud of the fact that I am currently the second longest serving supervisor in Monroe County. And of course, that will come to an end at the end of this term. So I want to thank everybody for their support and appreciate serving. And it's really been extraordinary. And I will continue to serve the public in this capacity. And when I do retire, I will still be around. We're not going anywhere, and I certainly will be down at the ball fields and umpiring, maybe cooking some hot dogs and that type of thing. So I will definitely see everyone around town even after my retirement. Thank you.
Well, thanks, John. And I want to just say that we've always appreciated your candor and your engagement in these shows. And at least you're going to still be around on these shows for a few more months, I assume. So
Absolutely.
we'll see you there. All right. Over to Steve Schultz in the town of Henrietta. Steve, what's going on there?
The aforementioned salt has hit Henrietta. Salt issue, we've had a large salt barn for years, and I have never seen it so empty. We have for weeks been ordering 1,000 tons, and we're getting maybe 200 tons. As of just the other day, we were down to less than 200 tons left, which sounds like a lot. It's nothing. Normally that barn is full to 3/4 capacity or more. Again, it was largely an empty barn. You were scraping the corners to get up enough salt. So we do have, again, we've been getting about 200 tons a day, but we've been going through a similar amount. We have started to ration salt. So we've put out a warning to residents that there may be some areas that the salt doesn't fully eat through an ice pack if that forms. This has been an ongoing problem, and I think it's a combination of multiple things. As mentioned, this is we've had a number of years of mild winters, and so I wouldn't be surprised if the salt manufacturers dialed back production. And then, of course, this year we've had, this is the longest number of days without a significant thaw in between that I can remember in a long time. I also have heard that the DEC place stricter limits on the size of their stockpiles down at the salt mines. And then the other thing I think that's contributing to it is that there was that big ice storm that hit the south, and I suspect that the communities there were paying more per ton of salt than the communities here. And so, considering they're a for-profit company, I'm sure they shipped a ton of the salt on train cars to the south to help them out, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if that's again contributing to why we're so short on salt. I haven't served as long as John, but I'm in my 8th year, and I've never seen anything like this. Coincidentally, I announced that I'm running one more this year is the last year I'm running for town supervisor. Some people interpreted it that this is my last year. No, it's my last campaign. So I'll be serving 2 more years after this one. That'll bring me to 10 years, which also was the second longest term in Henrietta. The longest term was 22 years, but it wasn't my grandfather. It was Jim Breeze. So, we've gone out for architects. We hired the architects to design our updated dog shelter. We've submitted that grant to a grant application to the Department of Ag and Markets. Hopefully we'll get that. We're actually building this shelter in conjunction with the town of Rush and potentially the town of Wheatland. Wheatland's approval is dependent on us getting the grant because they can't afford to contribute if we don't have that grant. But basically the dog shelter would be here on Henrietta property, but would serve all 3 towns. for a lot of us, the shelters in our area have closed down, and that's true in Henrietta. There's no private shelters close to Henrietta anymore, and that largely happened during the pandemic. So we have to build a new shelter because Ag and Markets changed the rules for the design and care of the animals in the shelter, and our current facilities do not meet those new requirements. Not to mention, we had a capacity issue. We had multiple times where we had to turn dogs away and try to find other places just because we didn't have the capacity. So this will resolve all those issues. The second project we are working on, and we're trying to find some clarity as to whether we'll be able to move forward for it, is an expansion of our senior center. With so many baby boomers hitting retirement and the growth in senior housing in the town, we're seeing a lot greater participation at our senior center. The reason it's potentially on hold is it was being funded through ARPA funds from the county. With the presidential edict putting hold on those funds, we're not sure what's happening with them. So we'll have to, before we do any expenditures, we have to make sure those funds are there. So fortunately for Henrietta, we had already expended our ARPA funds, so we already have them in-house. We're not subject to that, but the ones through the county, it's possible they've received them in December. That's what we're trying to find out. So if they've already received and have the funds in hand and just, are waiting to reimburse us, then we'll move forward. If those are on hold, we'll have to put that project on hold until those funds are made available. So a lot of negative consequences coming out of Washington, D.C., adversely affecting towns all across the country. The third project we're looking at is a new clubhouse for the golf course. So we've got we have quotes coming in for that one. That project, we are getting an estimate on what it's going to cost to build, because the only way we're doing that is if the rent on the restaurant portion of the clubhouse covers the cost to build that restaurant portion. Otherwise, we'll just build a very small clubhouse without a restaurant. But the goal is to have a restaurant there. We've reached out to 3 of the Henrietta family operated bars and restaurants and gotten their feedback to design that restaurant. So I did the initial drawings and turning it over to a architect to make it real. But again, the way we're moving forward on that is we'll get a solid cost estimate on what it's going to cost to build, and the idea is we would then go out and get a mortgage, and the rent from the restaurant would pay off the mortgage. So a lot of projects going on. None of them are actually using property taxes from our residents. They're largely being funded through the state. If you've been to town hall, you'll notice a crane and a whole lot of work. Our town hall roof has had some, basically had a portion of the system had collapsed. That doesn't mean the roof collapsed. If you know flat roofs, there's a material that creates slope, brings the water. That's what collapsed. So we essentially had a lake on the roof and it had to keep pumping it. Well, pumping water in the winter time doesn't work very well. So we had to do an emergency repair, and thankfully Senator Jeremy Cooney was able to get us a SAM grant to make those repairs. So they're nearly done. There was a lot of joking because smartly, the roof contractors, since they had the crane lifting all that equipment up there, they actually put a porta potty on the roof, which was very visible from the entrance as you're walking in. And our town clerks kept hearing people say, boy, it's tough, must be tough to go up to the restroom up on the roof. But it makes a lot of sense because now the workers didn't have to climb down the ladder to use the restroom. It's a lot safer to actually put the porta potty up on the roof. So, and the big thing I'm working on right now is state of the town address. So that's done as a fundraiser for our Chamber of Commerce. It's slated for Tuesday, February 25th. The talk starts at noon. I think the doors open before that. It's at the RITN and Conference Center. So the chamber just sent out the sign up registration information, so we'll have that on our webpage probably later today. So and then, as I do every year, I will take some of the significant slides from that presentation and put them in the spring newsletter. So and that's it.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Anybody else have anything to add? Seeing none, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching this. Remember, this program airs every Sunday at 1 p.m. on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Like the page, subscribe to the channel, and those platforms will notify you when the broadcast begins. Otherwise, you can read the transcript in next week's paper. That's all for now. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye for now.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.